True peace, happy holiday, peacemakers. Welcome to branch temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America, where we teach our people the nationality and their divine creed, that they may learn to love instead of hate. Come link yourself with the family of nations, by clicking their block words at the top of that Zabuwr temple, and where you can join us. We're going to get started with today's divine supplication. Opening in a second. Get today started. First, I want to give honors to the divine creator. I want to give honors to the prophet, Lawiy. I want to give honors to the original staff of the prophet. I want to give honors to everyone who will be here tonight, participation with us. I want to give honors to everyone that came after the prophet. People such as C.M. Bay, H.I.M, and the Honorable Messenger Elijah Muhammad. So as y'all know, we begin our prayers and thinking by using the name of the Heavenly One, the Most High, who is sustainer of all the worlds. We do accept the duty you have laid on us to clean the filth made by the West and its non-Semitic foods. O my sustainer, we beseech you to keep your hand over us to control the streams of the courses of our lives. Our sustainer, and if we do wrong, please show our divine blessings and forgiveness on us. You are the only one that can raise us, true followers of the news bearer, and in thy name we carry on. Alright, y'all. Let's jump right into our 19 affirmations, which we read here every week. You should be reading it with your family. I'll pin the link at the top of the room where you can get it. Where you can get the family guide later on. So these 19 affirmations are called the daily affirmation of loyalty of the children of the Elohim, and what we accept as fact. And as they state, we accept this fact: the eternal laws of nature as revealed through science, past events, logic, and common sense. Revealed is right knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We accept this fact: the highest laws of nature is the cooperation and harmony of all living things. We accept this fact: our way of life is a means to the best end. We accept this fact that loyalty is the greatest of all honors and treason is the worst of all crimes. We accept this fact that what is good for the Holy Tabernacle is the highest virtue, and what is bad for the Holy Tabernacle is the ultimate evil. We accept this fact that the Holy Tabernacle is the finest and noblest organization for all humanity, created by circumstances, and the ancient and mystic order of Melchizedek is the noblest of fraternities on and above this planet. We accept this fact that creativity, love, and cooperation are the essence of success. We accept this fact that truth and facts are always and has always been the originator and creator of all success. We accept this fact that our worldwide cultures and civilizations came about from the ancient Sumerians and Camite Egyptians and the Anunnaki, all Elohims from the heavens, without which there would be none. We accept this fact that for the Holy Tabernacle to survive, expand, and advance, we need, first of all, a revolution of values and thoughts, which must start within each person by being truthful with themselves and about themselves. Therefore, we completely and categorically reject all myths, fictions, religions, and lies that have not been proven. That would include what happens to your head was a hellfire and brimstone, your honey pitchfork devils, your winged angels, the old man guard character, sitting on the throne up there somewhere. We deal strictly with facts. If you can't prove it, we don't want to hear it. That doesn't mean we won't listen to you. Just don't expect us to accept your beliefs by virtue of a title such as Reverend, Pastor, Deacon, Imam, Sheik, Rabbi, Minister, Theologian, etc. That is your sensationalism, and we deal with just the facts. We accept this fact that the only true revolution is a war of good against evil, right against wrong, fairness against unfairness, loyalty against disloyalty, sincerity against insincerity, honesty against dishonesty. And it's wars fought within each person among the agreeable and disagreeable Elohims that make up your willpower. We accept this fact that the unity of our community and its success will only happen with cooperation with all involved. We accept this fact that total unification of all humanity on the basis of truth, that is, accepting people who are racist for who and what they are, respecting their culture, their languages, and their beliefs, and expect the same. We accept this fact that the human race's biological and cultural heritage is now under attack by our own morals, our self-righteousness, our desire to control industry, and these things attack the very existence of humanity. We accept this fact that males as well as females are equal in all things and should be dealt with as partners in all matters. We accept this fact that no one race of people is better than the other. In fact, no one wins the race in racism. We accept this fact that communication between different people is the cure to the ignorance that breeds the disease hate. We accept this fact that a good and well-rounded education could prevent most of the ignorance that plagues the world. We accept this fact that the all is just that, the all. You can't take from the all, you can't add to the all. We are all within the all as one. That is our concept of what you call a deity. To the fulfillment of these facts, we children of the Elohim forever pledge our lives, our sacred honor, and our spiritual zeal. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and jump right into the divine constitution and bylaws and our Moorish prayer. We can open up here with our weekly reading for tonight. So as y'all know, facing the east, how we do this, face the east, feet at a 45-degree angle, 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Zabuwr. Amen. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and jump into these divine constitution and bylaws as they read. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Symbol of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Symbol of America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Symbol of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed properly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Symbol of America. No members to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because the law is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Symbol of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of the said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Zabuwr, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must properly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Symbol of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Symbol of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Zabuwr, through the God of his Father God Allah. All right, y'all, so we're going to jump right into our weekly readings and get started here for this week. As y'all know, we open up here every week with chapter 25. Chapter 25. The Holy Qur'an Circle 7. So let's go ahead and jump right to it. Chapter 25 is the precursor for all actions, intents, and behaviors of all Moors that have proclaimed their nationality through the temple. Alright, so let's jump right to it so we can get it started for this week. In our monetary series. Alright. Chapter 25 is called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, and as it reads, ye are the children of one father provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother hath given thee so. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is an adversely assistant, if thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. So as I stated, this is the precursor for all actions, intents, and behaviors for the Moorish Temple of America. Alright, so we're going to jump straight to chapter 25. No, chapter 47 and 48. We just read chapter 25. So we're going to jump to chapter 47 and 48. Chapter 47 is called Egypt, the capital empire of the dominion of Africa. And it reads, the inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family was second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa. The dividing of the land between the father and the son, the dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and his northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa, they were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren, who soared from the land of Canaan seeking new homes. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa across Great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands, before the great earthquake which caused the Great Atlantic Ocean. The river Nile was made by the ancient pharaohs of Egypt in order to trade with the surrounding kingdoms. Also, the Niger River was dragged by the great pharaoh of Egypt in those ancient days for trade, and it extends eastward from the river Nile, westward across the Great Atlantic. It was used for trade and transportation. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. There's no one who is able to change man from the descendant nature of his forefathers, unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator Allah himself. These holy and divine laws are from the prophet Zabuwr, the founder of the Uniting of the Moorish Temple of America. These laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all the temples of the Moorish Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meeting and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Every subordinate temple of the grand major temples to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and to create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. Our prophet Zabuwr was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and awful day that is sure to come. The time is coming, every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess its own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation is suffered slavery due to the fact that they honor not the creed and principles of their forefathers. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America, who were of Moorish descent, because they honor not the principle of their mother and father, and straight after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. All right, y'all. So, in these readings every week, like I said, you find something new that really sticks out. And over the course of our Cooper's election sermons this year, we touched on Pangea and the supercontinents, things like that. And if you really listen carefully to the text and the message that the prophet is conveying, he's clearly describing what will be considered a supercontinent before, certain things happen that separated the continents. He didn't directly mention it, but indirectly you could see what the prophet was getting at. So with that, we're going to jump into chapter 48, called The End of Time and the Fulfilling of the Prophecies. And it reads, the last prophet in these days is Noble Ali, who was prepared divinely in due time by Allah to redeem men from their sinful ways and to warn them of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. John the Baptist was the forerunner of Jesus in those days to warn and stir up the nation and prepare them to receive the divine creed which was to be taught by Jesus. In these modern days, there came a forerunner of Jesus who was divinely prepared by the great God of Allah, and his name is Marcus Garvey, who did teach and warn the nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet, who was to bring the true and divine creed of Islam, and his name is Noble Ali, who was prepared and sent to this earth by Allah to teach the whole time religion and the everlasting gospel to the sons of man. That every nation shall and must worship under their own vine and fig tree, and return to their own and be one with their Father God of Allah. The Moorish Temple of America is a lawfully chartered and incorporated organization. Any subordinate temple that desires to receive a charter, the prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, etc., that the world may hear and know the truth, that among the descendants of Africans, there is still much wisdom to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of man under love, true peace, freedom, and justice. We as a clean and pure nation descended from the inhabitants of Africa do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation, while we, the Moorish Americans, are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. The covenant of the great God Allah, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be longer upon the earthland, which the Lord thy God Allah had given thee. Come, all ye Asiatics of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you're not Negroes. Learn of your forefathers' ancient and divine creed, that you will learn to love instead of hate. We're trying to uplift all in any manner. Come and link yourself with the family of nations. We honor all true and divine prophets. So we're going to open up this week with our monetary series and continue on where we left off from last week. So we opened up with some things from last week, some good points from the last 2 weeks, because we actually started it 2 weeks ago. So we're going to kick it off from there. So I'm going to open us up with the reference points that we was touching on here last week. So we can dive into that. this monetary series thing is a real heavy topic that we really need to dive into as a people, because we find ourselves circling around, not understanding why we keep running into the same roadblocks when it comes to our liberation and being in control of our destiny. So we gotta look into these things. If you go back a couple of weeks, we had our economic series, which I guess you can say this is an extension of that series, because this is kind of like a continuation of it, getting into monetary policy, monetary systems, things like that, are a continuation of the study of economics. So you got to get into economics. Economics is mandatory. And as I've been saying, we got to have that economic conversation. That is something that's pretty much mandatory that we should do as a people. Yeah, so we're going to get into currency, where we left off last week. Looking to see if I can find links that I had up from last week where we was reading from. So we'll just continue on. But as I stated, it's important that we get into economics, understand the fundamentals of economics, which is the root of our issues, and really start to have that conversation, that discussion about economics. Because we keep going in circles when it comes to self-determination and empowering ourselves as a people. It's just one big wrapped around circle. So at least we can have a series that's out there that can be referenced to the fundamentals of economic philosophy and the economic field of thought, as well as now the monetary field of thought of things. And, like I mentioned, we're going to get into some of the things that happened in the ancient times, how money was looked at in the past till now, and how money is looked at today, and how it extends from those ancient times, transformations and things like that we went through over time. We're going to get into some Since I'm not seeing it, I'm just going to so we're going to jump into histories money. Starting from where we left off at. So we went over the overview of things like that. How they go all the way back to 20,000 years ago with accounting systems. From the Ashango bone in Africa, the Shango bone in Africa. So now we can jump into how metals came along and how getting into the Iron Age, as they call it, in history contributed to the monetary systems that came along with the Iron Age. So from the reference point, it states, while not the oldest form of money of exchange, various metals, both common and precious metals, were also used in both barter systems and monetary systems. And the historical use of metal provides some of the clearest illustration of how barter systems gave way to monetary systems. The Romans' use of bronze, while not among the most ancient examples, is well documented and it illustrates this transition clearly. First, the rough bronze was used. This was a heavy weight of unmeasured bronze used in what was probably a barter system. The suitability of bronze for barter resulted solely from the alloy's usefulness in metalsmithing, and it was bartered with the intent of being turned into tools. And if you can remember from last week, we touched on how tools was used, like gardening tools. It states next, the historical stick was bronze and bars that had a 5-pound pre-measured weight, presumably to make barter easier and fairer. Then you had the sign bronze, which is where debate arises to whether this was still barter or had become a monetary system. So that's where you start to see that thin line between the barter system, at least within the Roman society, take place. Finally, there's a clear break from the use of bronze in barter into its indisputable use as money because of lighter measures of bronze not intended to be used as anything other than coinage for transaction. The heavy bronze is the start of the use of coins in Rome, but not the oldest known example of metal coinage. Because you had coins that came way before that Roman society idea of minting coins. It's pretty much where they got the idea from. Likewise, ancient Sparta minted coins from iron to discourage its citizens from engaging in foreign trade. In the early 17th century, Sweden lacked precious metals and so produced plate money. Large slabs of copper, 50 centimeters or more in length and width, stamped with indications of their value. Gold coins began to be minted again in Europe in the 13th century. Frederick II is credited with having reintroduced gold coins during the Crusades. During the 14th century, Europe changed from use of silver in currency to minting of gold. Vienna made this change in 1328. Metal-based coins had the advantage of carrying their value within the coins themselves. On the other hand, they induced manipulations, such as the clipping of coins to remove some of the precious metal. A greater problem was the coexistence of gold, silver, and copper coins in Europe. The exchange rate between the metals varied with supply and demand. For instance, the gold Guinea coin began to rise against the silver crown in England in the 1670s and 1670s and 1680s. Consequently, silver was exported from England in exchange for gold imports. The effect was worsened with Asian traders not sharing the European appreciation of gold altogether. Gold left Asia and silver left Europe in quantities. European observers like Isaac Newton, master of the Royal Mint, observed with unease. Stability came when national banks guaranteed to change silver money into gold at a fixed rate. It did, however, not come easily. The Bank of England risked a national financial catastrophe in the 1730s when customers demanded that money be changed into gold in a moment of crisis. Eventually, London's merchants saved the bank and the nation with financial guarantees. Another step in the evolution of money was the change from a coin being a unit of weight to being a unit of value. A distinction could be made between its commodity value and its specie value, or its value as a coin. The difference in these values is seigniorage. This is where seigniorage comes in, and seigniorage means the right of the Lord to mint money, which is a difference between the value of money and the cost to produce it and distribute it. So the term can be applied also. You can use the word seigniorage in two different ways. So seigniorage that derives from species of metal coins as a tax added to the total cost of a coin, which is its metal content and the production cost that a customer of the mint had to pay, and which was sent to the sovereign of the political region. And then the other way to describe it is seigniorage derived from notes, which is more indirect. It is the difference between interest earned on securities acquired in exchange for banknotes and the cost of printing and distributing the notes. So, monetary seigniorage is where a sovereign issues securities are exchanged for newly printed banknotes by a central bank, allowing the sovereign to borrow without needing to repay. Monetary seigniorage is sovereign revenue obtained through routine debt monetization, including the expansion of the money supply during GDP growth and meeting yearly inflation targets. So this is simply what our government does today in this day and time to pretty much keep up with the spending habits of our society today. So this is one of the things we exercise as a democratic society, as a Moorish society, to implement our own monetary system and structure. And this is why I've been letting it be known that the Prophet had a tax system that went back to 1929, and there's some accounting that needs to be done on behalf of us as a temple and people and the things that we involve ourselves in. So with that, we're gonna jump to our next section called theories of money. So you have many different theory systems, many different theories for different systems of money, monetary systems that came about. So, of course, your typical Greek philosophers have come up and This is the signal for us as a people to really dive into our ancient scholars that learned way before the Greeks and those Greek philosophers or Roman philosophers and reinitiators of things that we've done in ancient times. Because like it mentioned, there's many coin systems, metal coins, and monetary systems that were minted out way before they did it in Rome. So you want to really dive deep and continue on into the study of this. So it states, from the earliest ideals included Aristotle's medalist and Plato's chartalist concepts, which Joseph Scribner integrated into his own theory of money as forms of classification. Especially the Austrian economists attempted to develop a catalectic theory of money out of claim theory. Schumpeter theory has several themes, but the most important of these involve the notion that money can be analyzed from the viewpoint of social accounting, and that is also firmly connected to the theory of value and price. There are at least two theories of what money is, and these can influence the interpretation of historical and archaeological evidence of early monetary systems. The commodity theory of money, money of exchange, is preferred by those who wish to view money as a natural outgrowth of market activity. Others view the credit theory of money, money of account, as more plausible and may posit a key role for the state in establishing money. The commodity theory is more widely held, and much of this article is written from that point of view. Overall, the different theories of money developed by economists largely focus on function, use, and management of money. Other theorists also note that the status of a particular form of money always depends on the status ascribed to it by individuals and by society. For instance, gold may be seen as valuable in one society, but not in another. Or that a bank note is merely a piece of paper until it is agreed that it has monetary value. So this is why when we say fiat, we run into people that says fiat has no value. You pretty much got to look at that, because anything 2 or 3 more people agree upon, whatever it is that they agreed upon, that thing has value, especially between those group of people. So now when you have a whole society of people agreeing upon the denomination of a currency, that thing gains value. And it becomes intricate value, especially based on the definition of the two. It has intricate and intrinsic value and what would be considered non-intrinsic value. So you have a little bit of both going on there, just based on the fact of people coming to agreements, especially as a social construct and social compact, where the whole society of people were saying, hey, we see value in that denominated money of credit, money of record. So we have to understand the things that we're saying, because it might not have value more outside of the people that came together to agree and say that it has value, but that can technically go for everything and every market that is out there. You got to have a supply and demand. So the next section is on money supply, which it states, in modern times, economists have sought to classify the different types of money supply. The different measures of money supply have been classified by various central banks using the prefix M. The supply classification often depends on how narrowly a supply is specified. For example, the M may range from M0, narrowest, to M3, broadest. So you got different types of technology. Next, that money gets into here, and then we're gonna get into a little the prehistory, the predecessors of money and its emergence. So we're gonna jump into that here next, and we're gonna end off this week with that. So the prehistory of money is the predecessors of money and its emergence. You have the non-monetary exchange, which consists of gifting and debt and bartering. So we're gonna get into that first, and then get into more of the monetary exchanges. So it states there's no evidence, historical or contemporary, of a society in which barter is the main mode of exchange. Instead, non-monetary societies operated largely along the principles of gift economy and debt. When barter did, in fact, occur, it was usually between either complete strangers or potential enemies. So it goes into bartering, so we can have some details on that. And it states with barter, an individual possesses any surplus of value, such as a measure of grain or a quantity of livestock, could directly exchange it for something perceived to have similar or greater value or utility, such as a clay pot or a tool. However, the capacity to carry out barter transactions is limited in that it depends on a coincidence of wants. For example, a farmer has to find someone who not only wants the grain he produced, but who could also offer something in return that the farmer wants. So this is why there has been a lot of changes from a barter system to a system of negotiations and banknotes. As you can see, they mentioned the banknotes when they was having a crisis, and then the emergence of banknotes going all the way back to ancient times, even before, or book entry notes going back in time all the way back to ancient Sumeria and Babylon. So this is not the first time you see that, and I mentioned this before, even in our economic series, that we have a lot of people. They get the thought to where, well, hey, I want to go back to a barter system, and the barter system wasn't as widely of a social thing as most people like to think it is. So we're gonna get into that hypothesis of barter as the origin of money. So you have in Politics, book 119, which was written in 350 BC, the Greek philosopher Aristotle contemplated the nature of money. He considered that every object has two uses: the original purpose for which the object was designed, and as an item to sell or barter. The assignment of monetary value to an otherwise insignificant object such as a coin or promissory note arises as people acquire the psychological capacity to place trust in each other and in external authority within barter exchange. Finding people to barter with is a time-consuming process. Austrian economist Karl Menger hypothesized that this reason was a driving force in the creation of monetary systems. People seeking a way to stop wasting their time looking for someone to barter with. So next is the hypothesis of credit as the origin of money. And this is coming from the book Debt, the First 5,000 Years. Anthropologist David Graeber argues against the suggestion that money was invented to replace barter. The problem with this version of history, he suggests, is the lack of any supporting evidence. His research indicates that gift economies were common, at least at the beginning of the first Akkadian societies. When humans used elaborate credit systems, Gabriy'El proposes that money as a unit of account was invented the moment when the unquantifiable obligation, I owe you one, transformed into the quantifiable notion of I owe you one unit of something. In this view, money emerged first as credit and only later acquired the functions of a medium of exchange and a store of value. Gabriy'El's criticisms partly relies on and follows that made by A. Mitchell Ennis in his 1913 article, What is Money? Ennis refutes the broader theory of money by explaining historic evidence and showing that early coins never were of consistent value, nor of more or less consistent metal content. Therefore, he concludes that sales is not exchange of goods for some universal commodity, but an exchange for credit. He argues that credit and credit alone is money. Anthropologist Caroline Humphrey examines the available ethnographic data and concludes that no example of a barter economy, pure and simple, has ever been described, let alone the emergence from it of money. All available ethnography suggests that there never has been such a thing. Then you have economists Robert P. Murphy and George Selgin, who replied to Gabriy'El saying that the barter hypothesis is consistent with economic principles, and a barter system would be too brief to leave a permanent record. John Alexander Smith from Bella, Chalcedonia, said that in this exchange, Gabriy'El is the one acting as a scientist by trying to falsify the barter hypothesis, while Selgin is taking a theological stance by taking the hypothesis as truth revealed from authority. So you have some back and forth by those who contribute to the school of thought. And this is what we need to get into as a people and participate in that dialogue and do it with some decorum. you don't see these brothers back in the day going at each other's throat with the stake and the stake and shield. So having that scholastical debate, as they would call it, or we like to say probate, but having that scholastical scholarly debate back and forth, and we're documenting it within our own society, within our own community, for our children in the next 100 years to witness and learn from and grow from and build things from, because this is how things develop and come about. Getting into the scientific, practical things, as well as just going on faith, because you find out a lot of things like trust in the process and having that faith that something is that way before it even reveals itself to be such. But we do want to make sure that we put our practical way of analyzing and computing data out front and first and foremost. So we're going to get into the gift economy and emergence of money next week. And if you want to know the reference point of where I'm reading from, you just check out the Kupa or the summary from last week. Click on the replay and you should have the links there in the chat. So next week we're going to get into some things. We're going to get into, like I said, gift economy, the emergence of money, and the Bronze Age, going way back, commodity money, credit, and debt, and how these things were utilized during that time. So as we look into this, we can really understand not just the sociology of the people during that time, but the economy of the people during that time, how they thought economically as well sociologically, as we get into the things we touch on here in the temple with the knowledge from that day and time, and how it actually went from ancient Sumer, Babylon, Akkad, and turned into what you have today with Jerusalem, so-called Middle East, etc. And these issues that we're having currently in the global village. So with that, we're gonna close it out this week and jump into our current events and our weekly reach from the Holy Qur'an. And I think we closed out last week with chapter 39. I'm sure we gotta check that out. But with that, we have one more week left, I think, just about, for monetization for YouTube. So that is good news there. We have some things going on back and forth with Trump, like, let off my peoples this week. So you have some things going on there. And the political arena is getting hot as ever. So, especially with the situation that's carrying on between Israel and Palestine, and we're watching these well pre-planned events take place and happen. A lot of people are definitely not aware of them. So you definitely have people taking sides with those things. But you want to keep your eyes and ears open for the things that are coming. Just this week, you had Trump screaming about this is a potential of martial law coming and potential of invasion of the country. So just want to keep your eyes and ears open. These are things that we have talked about, studied, and went into detail on many times. So with that, we're going to jump into our weekly reading from the Qur'an. I'm not going to do a room reset because it's just me. So we're going to jump right into it and see where we left off from last week. And then from there, we're going to jump into our holy instructions and close out with our literature for tonight. So I'm thinking we left off with finishing 39 last week. Pretty sure we did. So we're about to see here in a sec. So yeah, I'm pretty sure we left off. We finished 39 last week. So yeah, I'm pretty sure we left off there. So we're gonna continue into chapter 40, which is called Al-Jinn, the hidden ones, which means disagreeable, malevolent beings, and they changed that to 72, which was originally chapter 40. So we're gonna start off from there and continue from there. So as y'all know, we begin our prayers and thinking by using the name of the source, Allah, the Rahman, who is the most merciful. And this section of commentary states, Muhammad was inspired that a group of jinn have heard an amazing Qur'an. It calmed them. So they won't find partners with the Ra Enosites and mortals from the jinn. They thought the source wouldn't raise anyone. The skies were filled with strong haras. Light beams will come to those who attempt to listen. The jinns admit they don't perceive if wickedness is attempted by the Zodokites. So the ayats read, starting out for chapter 40, for this surah, it states, it starts out with Gabriel speaking, and it states, "O Muhammad, tell them this, I have been inspired that a Nafar, company of the jinn, benevolent disagreeable beings, cherubims, listen, and they, the benevolent beings, cherubims, the jinn said, surely we have heard an amazing reading, the Qur'aan. Calmness leads to the right direction, so we, benevolent beings, or cherubims, the jinns, have faith in it, the Qur'an. And we, the benevolent beings, cherubims, or the jinn, will not associate partners with you. O our Rob, sustainer, you are alone. And surely he not we, is the Ta'ala, Most High, Anu, the Majestic, our Master, who is Rob, and he is not taken unto himself Sahiba, companion or girlfriend, and not Walad, son by birth. And surely a nation of fools, meaning the Jews, from among us, used to utter shatat, blasphemies about the source. Allah, and surely we not he, the Elohim Anunnaki, thought that the Enosites and the jinns, benevolent beings and cherubims, did not utter blasphemous lies about the source, Allah. And surely they were Rijal, mortal men from amongst Enosites, who sought refuge with mortal men who are from amongst the human jinns, benevolent beings, cherubims. So they increased in their rahab, oppression. And surely they thought, as all of you thought, that the source, Allah, would not raise to life Ahad, anyone. And surely we sought to touch the Sama'a, skies, so we discovered it to be filled with forceful haras, guards, the benevolent beings, cherubims, and the jinns, and beings of light attacking benevolent beings, seraphim. And surely we, the benevolent Enosites of the jinn Enosites, used to squat in the squatting places in order to listen. So as for him who attempts to listen, now he will find a shahir, flaming beam, coming at him. And surely we, the benevolent beings, cherubims, the jinn, don't perceive if wickedness is intended by those in the planet Earth, qui, Adamites, Zakarites, or whether their Ra, master, intends them to direct them rightly. So we gonna stop right there, pick up for next week, so we can finish it out with chapter 41. But as you can see, this chapter is talking about some good old extraterrestrial beefing going on between the seraphim and the cherubim. And we get into that in our Temple 101 questionnaire about those who are made in the image and after the likeness of Allah, as thoughts of Allah. So you want to make sure you look into the 101s, and it also references the Elohim in the 101s as well. So you want to look into that. And from our series of what we talked about today, you can see that a lot of the knowledge that comes from different religions and cultures and societies, this is where this information is coming from. It's coming from these cherubims or jinns from the disagreeable side, as well as seraphim and other beings from the agreeable side, for our cultures, our religions, our way of life, and then that leading into monetary systems and other things, other technologies. So These are just things you want to be aware of, and I'm glad the master teacher, I want to give honors to the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Zodok, for doing the work that he did to make sure that we can connect the dots. So with that, we're going to jump into our holy instructions for tonight. I'm going to change the link that's pinned at the top of the room. So if you're definitely listening to the replays, you want to make sure you click that link that's pinned at the top of the room. So that way you can join us on YouTube when we start to put the links up there on YouTube. I didn't mention that in the current events space, but we definitely are trying to be patient with Clubhouse for them getting the downloads back and get that together, because we definitely need to be able to download our recordings here so we can shift them to YouTube. So we're going to jump right into our holy instructions for you joining the Moorish Temple of America, proclaiming your nationality. Because a lot of people have questions about it and really do not understand the simple fundamental that go into proclaiming your nationality. So we're going to jump right into it. As y'all know, Friday is a holy day. Oh, you don't know. When a call is proclaimed to supplication on Friday, the day of assembly, hasten earnestly to the remembrance of the Heavenly Father and Divine Mother, and leave all business and traffic that is best for you if you but knew. And when prayer is finished, then may ye disperse through the land and seek the bounty of God, and celebrate the praises of God of 10 and without stint, that ye may prosper. All chaplaincy, temple services, and meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the circle 7, and of true peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh, and ascended unto his Father God of love. But that cause Friday is our holy day for all Muslims and peacemakers all over the world. This is according to Act 2 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws by the Prophet Zabuwr, which states all temples and subordinate temples are to conduct holy day service every Friday, starting promptly at their respective time and ending promptly at their respective time. All civilians, patrons, denizens, prospects, and ministers are expected to attend the temple for the Friday Holy Day temple service and meet. On Fridays, the Moorish Americans, Moorish Asians, and Moorish African Muslims and peacemakers all come together to supplicate and to illustrate that which Allah has blessed them with. The temple services are open according to divine love, true peace, freedom, and justice. At no time will templars, adepts, ministers, patrons, or outside congregational guests be allowed to disrupt the Holy Day service. Nor will civilians be admitted under the influence of alcohol or any severe intoxicants. All templars, adepts, and civilians attending the Holy Day service must have their heads covered with either a turban, fez, or kufi, or spiritual covering. Baseball caps should not be worn in the temple or during temple service. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is mandatory in all Moorish national temples, and temple denizens must promptly attend the temple service and send their children to the Sunday school gatherings. The teacher must conform himself and herself to the temple one-on-one questionnaire, and let every civilian man, woman, and child exercise his or her 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guidance of the nation and now the entire global village. According to Act 5 of the additional laws by the Prophet Zabuwr, every subordinate temple should have 2 Sunday school gatherings held. The first meeting should be held 1 to 2 hours before the adult service. Children's Sunday school should be conducted by a director of the Children's Sunday School program, the Children's Sunday School and programs. The Sunday school gathering is designed to assist the temple in learning the temple one-on-one questionnaire and developing understanding of just what these holy keys mean and how they are to be applied to our everyday lives. The Divine Constitution and Bylaws, along with the Moorish prayer, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, Hell's Holy Injiyl, Hell's Holy Qur'aan, and the civic editions or lessons of the Holy Temple of Moorish Science are also subjects of major concern for the apprentice who is trying to complete his or her mandatory requirements for pronouncing their temple civilianship and global nationality. All lessons for the adult Sunday school gathering must be prepared by a Grand Sheik, a divine minister, or an assistant Grand Sheik. Lessons called by us no vice editions may be submitted to the apprentice for completion and returned to the temple. Once the lessons are completed and graded, they must be placed in the active members' temple district file. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is a wonderful opportunity to study the liturgy teachings of the prophet. No civilian is to become disruptive during the Sunday meeting. All templars must bring paper and pen to the temple service and meeting, along with the basic temple literature and assignments. No templars or patrons to eat food or other snacks during the temple service or meeting, but water is permitted. All templars must attend their Sunday temple service and meeting as diligently as they attend their holy day temple service and meeting. Both were called off by the Prophet Zabuwr and is required as a matter of temple law. According to the Divine Constitution, Act 7 in part, All Templars must properly attend their temple services and meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science of America. And now, also Moorish Science Temple of Africa and Moorish Science Temple of Asia, and enjoining Royal Islands on behalf of all indigenous people. For membership, any heads of temple of all temple jurisdictions are not to charge for naturalization or to overcharge for cards, buttons, or anything issued by you through profit. Those who contribute to any of the proceedings are not more civilians or patrons, but robbers. Temple nationality and membership in the Holy Temple Fast Estate, what we call the Public Beneficiary Trust, sisters and brothers, kin and kinfolk, is free. Not only here, but all over the world. All kin and kinfolk desiring to become a civilian of a supported temple must follow the instructions from the temple secretary and acquire the application for naturalization, which can be found on that temple website. The secretary of the temple's jurisdiction will help all newcomers by explaining the naturalization affidavit and application for membership in the temple's vast estate, or what we call a public beneficiary trust, to the new prospective civilians of the temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust, and arranging for him or her to be consulted by the royal council of said temple or supporting temple. The royal chairman or woman will set the date for the new temple prospect to be interviewed by the royal council. The new temple court surveying upon completion of the royal council's consultation at the newcomers' gathering, Sunday school gathering, on Sunday, the new templars will proclaim their temple nationality at the next upcoming holiday temple gathering. After the new civilian prospect proclaims his or her nationality, they will be given the mandatory requirements necessary to earn their free national name and royal title of nobility as a true American royal. These requirements are as follows, and in accordance with Chapter 47 of the Moorish Circle 7 Holy Qur'aan, called Egypt the capital dominion of the Empire of Africa. Chapter 25 of the Moorish Qur'aan, called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. The Moorish Prayer, including the one-on-one Qur'an questions for Moorish Americans, Asians, and Africans, the Divine Constitution and bylaws, the additional laws, and the precepts, statutes, and ordinances from El's Holy Torah, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'aan, the Holy Tabernacle Family Guide, and also the Holy Tablets, throughout civics and one-on-one course in the Global Independent School District and Sacred Halls of Learning, which is called the University of the Holy Temples of Moorish Science, for everyone of the global village. Once a new civilian or template has learned these additions or lessons verbatim or to the best of their ability, he or she will be interviewed by the temple's royal council as the chaplaincy to determine if the new civilian is qualified to represent himself or herself as a faithful Moorish American, Moorish African, and Moorish Asian Muslim or any indigenous peacemaker, and communicated to the ignorant for their instructions, and communicated to the wise for thine own improvement. Once the new civilian or template has cleared the mandatory requirements with the royal council, he or she will be naturalized by the Grand Sheik and the Divine Minister of said supporting temple. So, all the status correction stuff, you can throw it away, you can throw it out the window. We got you, there you go. So, I see down there. So next, we got to jump into our Holy Shahada portion of these instructions, which basically explains in simplicity the ceremony that takes place and how it kind of plays out for the ceremony. So the proclamation of nationality, procedure, and pronunciation of one's nationality will be held on holy day for all civilians, denizens, templars, peacemakers, or Muslims all over the world. During the ceremony, the new civilian and templars will be ordained. Something going on, like, will be ordained in El Bay or Day and given his or her royal peer's title of kin, honorable, lady, noble, nan, lion, prince, or princess, by Grand Sheik and or Divine Minister, and also receive his or her nationality and button from the Divine Minister of the Grand Major Temple. Upon conclusion of the nationality proclamation, the Grand Sheik and the Divine Minister will have the new templars, will have the civilian, templars, and temple prospect stand while he or she reads the authority of the Moorish Science Temple of America. It is by virtue of the Religious Corporation Act document that can be found in the Hereditary Statutes that gives the Moorish Science Temple of America, Asia, and Africa the authority to restore the nationality and birthrights of the lost Asiatics of America, Asia, Africa, and all world islands, and give them the title to their vast estate and their heritage. The Grand Sheik and Divine Minister is to read from the card and have the new national state, Allah is God, and overdraw the prophet. And I am Moorish American, African, and or Asian, and or world islander. This is our Moorish clarification of faith for Shahada and our national pledge of allegiance. The new civilian or templates free national name should then be added to the Temple's Book of Life as they enroll in the Civics 101 course and our complimentary World Civics Club. The nationality ceremony should be conducted by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister or any other Divine Minister so designated by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister in his or her time of absence, and most notably by the Assistant Grand Sheik and Divine Minister. The nationality card and naturalization application must be signed bearing the name and title of the Grand Sheik or Divine Minister who issued the application and card and the date of its issuance. The Religious Corporation Act has deemed the Global Interdependent School District and the Incorporated and Chartered Moorish Temple of America, Africa, and Asia as a religious trust and theocratic government established in 1928 on August 20th. This religious trust is the true global trusteeship system for the Holy Family of Nations, forming the global nucleus. So we have all the links on that at the top, so you all could get the links that you need there, especially for the donations and things like that. So with that, we're gonna jump right into our mandatory literature for tonight. We're gonna take it on home. But as I mentioned, all the status correction stuff, sovereign citizen proclamation processes that people try to take you through, UCCs and all these things, that has nothing to do with changing your status. There's nothing to do with changing status. And you also want to get into the ancient records of nationality and what the argument of it. You want to get into that and see, go back in time, and see what it was about. So that way you have, much more clarity on some of the things that we're going to discuss here, especially once we start to open up, setting the record straight and getting into that more after this monetary series. As soon as we close out the monetary series, we're jumping right into setting the record straight again and the Holy Tablets, and really dive into a lot of the ancient wisdom that's coming out of the Mother Tablets. So with that, let's get into the mandatory literature for tonight. All right, y'all. So the prophet wants us to read and go over these proclamations here every temple service and meeting. This is a warning coming from the prophet. This is to be read in every temple meeting and temple service. The prophet said, I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We're for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your card at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We're for love, true peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button and cease wearing their turban and fez and return to the state where the prophet found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Zabuwr, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. True peace, Zabuwr. And so this is saying that this is an everlasting movement. This is the movement that gave birth to the Shriners. This is the movement that gave birth to the Freemasons, to your Greek societies, on to this day. So these are things that you want to keep in mind, especially, like I said, those of you that get into the whole Tataria thing and studying that. Definitely can't wait for the content that we're going to be creating. And just pointing out as we continue building our content and our first channel on YouTube, that we're going to come with more channels, get them monetized, and just keep creating things, putting out good content for our people to tune into, and have them get active in the divine and national movement, because it's all about the image and perception. So we want to make sure we have the truth at the core, which is what we stand on, but having that be perceived throughout the U.S., especially cleaning up our image as Moorish people, and coming with irrefutable data and putting it into people's faces, the right people's faces. That way, the things that have been stated about the Moorish people can really be cleared up, especially with it not concerning an ethnic base of people. So, with that, we're going to jump into the last message from the prophet, and we're going to close it out with our prayer. The prophet wants us to proclaim this at every temple meeting and temple service. Islam, the prophet said, I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they're working every scheme that they can to disqualify me, so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful ones that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful ones to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world would not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being here. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Zabuwr. All right, with that, we're going to take it on home. I'm going to extend the olive branch to y'all that need the temple home, temple space. The message for the temple members. And the message will probably have from y'all, but we got a quiet night tonight, so let y'all get off easy. But with that, we're going to jump right into the prayer, closing on out. And I will see y'all either this Sunday or next week, Friday. And with that, y'all know how it goes. We facing east. We face east, 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up, feet at a 45-degree angle. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day. Through this holy prophet, Zabuwr.